Welcome to a new test and teardown video. This time it's another Stabilock, and this one is the 4011 model. So it is, I think, a lot older than my previous Stabilock video. I will of course put a link in the description to the previous Stabilock video. And yeah, you can easily see this is a much older, much more simple layout and all that. And the frequency range is also a lot less. It's actually explained right here, 0.01 to 480 megahertz. So it covers all the way to the highest UHF band for radio amateurs. It's actually even set here for a local 2-meter band frequency. It's, as you can see, a little bit yellow, dirty. That's just how it is sometimes. I will see if I can clean it a little bit, especially around here. So I guess this area here is very much used. You can't move some of the, those two you can't move. Yeah, this one goes quite nice and smooth. Oh, a little bit sticky feeling here. So, of course, I need to open and inspect. First of all, it's as you can see, very, very big. And it's also quite heavy, almost 17 kilos. Here at the back, it's a little bit rusty. It's probably been standing in a cellar for a long, long time. And there's also a really weird smell to this one. What is going on? Yeah, they can run on mains, but they can also run on a battery. This is quite normal for Stabilock. So they actually use these for service instruments and carried them around. Yeah, as long as they fit in the car, I guess. I am in the disassembly and inspection round. So I want to open into the different RF compartments. And here is a real fun message from a previous owner. And this is 23 years ago. It was fixed, and then the oscillator was fixed and the capacitor was changed. And 73s and everything. I think this is absolutely fascinating. I love getting those messages from previous owners. And now we can enjoy the nice design. I think this box here is silver coated brass, because if you look in the little holes, it shines like brass in here. But it is, as you can see up there, this piece of metal here is soldered. So it's actually a thin sheet box, but with these parts soldered to it, and then of course silvered. This is of course to lower the weight of these boxes, but still the whole unit is quite heavy. All over the unit, you can also see it up here. I find this, be careful not to do that. This type of capacitor here and the red one, those are famous for their leakage and shorting and cracking and explosion. They're really, really a big problem, and there are so many of them. What exactly is this part? Is this a mixer or something like that? I don't know yet what that is, but I can probably look it up. OM175. What is that? Here at the bottom, we can see the input. It goes to a power level detector. And then there is a feed through attenuator and power load. And then the output goes to the front again, and then it's looped to the receiver. So the whole idea is, of course, if you have really, really weak signals and you want to get the last 20 dB of sensitivity, you can of course enter your signals directly here. But of course, if you key your transmitter, then you will blow up everything. So the whole idea when you're working with transceivers is to use this input, and this way the transmitter can go directly into this power load and safely handle, everything here will handle this power level. We can also see they made some mechanical details here. So those hinges, that means we can flip this and this way access everything from both sides. I look a little bit forward to figure out how that works. Let's try and open this one and have a little look in here. So what exactly is going on here? This looks like Teflon. So those circuit boards, they're definitely Teflon boards. So we got some filters or probably some amplifiers for different frequency bands. They even wrote the different frequencies here. See, 300. It's more or less the same frequency bands. I don't understand exactly what is going on here. We got some, this looks like different oscillators. You can see this will be the ground. And here's the little stop with the diodes and all that kind of stuff. So that will definitely be a lot of different oscillators, and they probably mix these together, and then this way generates all the different frequency bands. We've also got a little amplifier right here. So yeah, that is how it's done. It's really, really packed with electronics all over the place. We got so much going on in here. Yeah, we got some more of these mystery boxes. I look forward to look at that. Quite big transformer as well. So here's the left side of the unit. I just realized those two screws, they're actually there to close holes for trimmer access. So it is that important to shield the individual rooms here. I mean, really? Those tiny little holes, what kind of noise can go in and out of those holes? I mean, this is just ridiculous. I mean, definitely over-engineered. Or maybe somebody's having some arguments about, oh, we want all these. See, they got silver-coated brass plates on a little bit of, see, this soft material, and then the aluminium plate. So that means when you put in the screws, there will be pressure along the edge, and this way you will have a super good electrical connection all the way around here. And also this is silver to silver, so there's definitely a good connection. And then of course, oh, and then you are making holes for trimmers. I mean, why the heck are we doing all this and then you drill some holes? So yeah, I can just imagine the arguments. And here we got what I think this is IF and modulation, demodulation. We got some mixers and some crystal oscillators going on around here. I think they're actually in a socket, those. Let's have a little look. No, I can't see a lot. Yeah, see? That will be RF capable relays. So for switching all this and that, maybe they're soldered. But no, those are really nice. And even here, see? Grounding for the chassis. And another little ground top here. I mean, what is going on in this little mystery box? I kind of like it. Nice design here. Here is another funny story inside the top lid. Look at that. We even got the whole date. It says here the error was very tricky due to a missing schematic. But it turned out to be a decoupling capacitor in the phase detector, and there was a 100 microfarad capacitor. It's changed with another 100 microfarad capacitor. How cool is that? So we got the whole story about fixing this unit, and here is of course all the PLL and phase detection and oscillator controls. It is really, really fascinating the way this is done. But I got bad news. So if you did expect me to power this up and actually get it up and running, I am so sorry, but I don't think this is going to happen, at least not this week. because what you can see here is exactly what I mentioned earlier. Let's see if we can focus this. All the capacitors, they are, see, they are cracked. The funny thing is, this capacitor cracks more than these, but it's just all of them. Let's get over here. I don't know how visible this is on the video, but they are completely cracked. Oh yeah, this one you can also... Getting stuff in focus is just impossible. Maybe it's the light. Anyway, yeah, that is just annoying. Let's see if we can flip some of these and get all the way in and show all the cool details. At least we need to see a lot of stuff then. Oh, what is this beautiful little... I don't know that one. Probably a Prescaler, isn't it? I was right about this flip module here. You can even, of course you can also flip it while it is connected, but not all, because we got some RF connections right here. I needed to remove the connectors here, so you can of course put in some bendable cables, and now we can access a lot deeper. Yeah, what's, oh, so there's a little connector right here, and down here we can see many more circuit boards. Oh my god, and there's even a cable here with a connector, so we can pull this out, and this, oh, that will be for all the switches we got here. Now that is the potentiometer that is not moving at all. I really like those frequency. They are actually BCD switches, so you can see we got 4 wires for each digit, so they're coded with the 4 bits BCD, and then they go of course to all this we have previously seen. What is inside this box? Have we got some missing screws here, or what is going on down there? Of course I wanted to have a little deeper inspection here around the oscillators. So I took out one of them, and you gotta see this. Here is probably the output from those oscillators. Maybe they are mixed together or something like that, right? See, right here we got some diodes. So it looks like those two oscillators here, we can mix them together or something like that, right? And then this output, I had 2 screws going through there. They're actually mounted here. So I bet this is, I mean, this is really amazing, this design. I really like how much they put into, you know, all the cool details. And here we got inductors, ferrites around the cables to avoid noise getting in and out and something like that. Beautiful. So I think I will call this the end of this video so far, because I don't feel that there is a big reason to proceed due to all those broken components, and not just the capacitors. I also find other brown and blown up parts here and there. So I think I just pause this for now. See you around. Bye bye.